Bienvenue à Versailles. That means welcome to Versailles. Today we're in France for a special edition of World History with Mr. Sin. We're going to be focusing on the causes of the French Revolution today. And what better place to go than Versailles itself, the palace, right behind me. In this video, we're going to be going over all the causes of the French Revolution, focusing on what just happened in France and why did it occur. Make sure to take out your guide notes and follow along as we go through Versailles. You'll get to see different parts of the palace and also learn about the cause of the French Revolution. So sit back and enjoy. So right now I'm behind the palace, and to start our story off, we have to talk about how France was set up. France was set up under this old regime. It was ruled by absolutism. Ultimately, we have a king, they get to do whatever they want, and they get to decide every aspect of society. And France was built off of inequality. France had different estates. Now, there was a first, second, and third, and we'll get to those in just a second. But ultimately, what it did is it separated the people based on wealth. And everyone started to have different conflicts that would arise due to the inequality that existed. The first estate, that was our clergy. All they really had to do was follow church doctrine, support the monarch, also make sure that they're collecting taxes. They're in charge of keeping all the records as well. The second estate, they're the nobles. They really don't have to do anything. They just get to sit back and support the monarchy. And the third estate was the majority of everyone in society. They were the poor. They were the people who did everything. They paid a tax on income, on wealth, on their property, on rent, on food, a toll tax. Literally, they're the ones that are propping France up and ultimately making sure that it doesn't collapse. So you can already see it's not fair. This estate system set up France for this tension between the different classes. And we'll see this transfer over into the French Revolution. So we're out here right now in the gardens of Versailles, and this is actually just the start of it. We'll get to the rest of the gardens in just a second. But the big thing with the estates and what was happening was ultimately the poor were paying for everything. They were the ones supporting all of the king's spendings, the Queen Marie Antoinette at the time, all of her different items that she wanted to purchase, the poor are doing everything. And it's not fair, ultimately causing conflict to arise. We start to see people get upset, and this starts to turn into class warfare, you could say. Now, at the time, it wouldn't be considered that, but ultimately we see this third estate starting to crack as they're taking on the burdens of everyone in society. So while we started to see tension grow in France, the big thing happening during this time is all these Enlightenment ideas started to take shape, and people started to accept them. They were tired of paying all the taxes. They were tired of being limited in their rights. And France had been struggling too. They economically weren't doing the best. They supported the American Revolution, which ultimately bankrupted the country, even though the people themselves were the ones paying for everything. They didn't want to support the American Revolution at the time. The king was making choices that ultimately cost the people of France everything. Behind me, you can see the gardens of Versailles. These stretch for miles going back. Kind of cool to think about. Let's continue with our tour. As you can see, we already had issues building in France. The estate system, the poverty, the taxes, and the king and queen continued to spend. Right now I'm inside the palace of Versailles. Now most of this video is going to be me talking over it because there's a lot of people in here and it's loud. But you'll be able to see some of just the extravagant lifestyle choices, you could say, that the king and queen had. They didn't stop their spending. In fact, this palace is just ridiculous. So let's figure out exactly kind of what else is going on, because there's a bunch of other causes. Let's go check out the rest of the palace so that way you can see exactly what this place looks like and also understand what's going on. Let's go! As we continue our tour throughout the Palace of Versailles, you'll get to see some of the awesome things here. Now, the reason why I'm doing this voiceover instead of filming all of this live again is just to make it so it's easier for you to understand me. It's pretty loud in here, and it would be hard for you to hear everything that I have to say if I was walking throughout these large crowds. And believe me, there's a ton of people here. We got stuck in some of the hallways for 20 minutes just to try and get through a door from how many people were here. But one of the things that was happening during the French Revolution was France had a very poor economy. Now, right now, we're looking at this very luxurious palace. The Palace of Versailles is fantastic, and we can see just the amount of money that went into it. The unfortunate thing was, for the rest of France, poverty was quite high. This actually created some animosity between the commoners and the royal family. Now, the royals were spending tons and tons of money on themselves, and the people saw this. This created tension, especially with Marie Antoinette. Now, there was a lot of hatred of her and also of the king. And as Enlightenment ideas like John Locke and others started to come around, and more people kept hearing of rights and how they should be treated, more people got fed up with the royal family. They stopped caring about following the old status quo. They wanted change, and they were tired of living in such poverty while the royal family lived in such wealth. Again, then with the American Revolution succeeding, people saw that there was hope and that they could achieve freedom just like other people. And with the majority of the people in the country being hungry and broke, eventually the country hit a breaking point. When they started to starve and they saw the royal family and Marie Antoinette and the king all eating and being happy and merry, they finally snapped. And revolution was coming. Now, this wasn't the final breaking point. We have one more big event that has to happen to finally push the French over the edge and demand revolution. So we're right now in the Hall of Mirrors. This is part of the Palace of Versailles. And our last ultimate cause of the French Revolution is when King Louis XVI on May 5th, 1789 calls a National Assembly. The goal was to solve the bankruptcy problem of France. Now, each estate got different representatives. The first got 300, the second got 300, and the third estate got 600. Now, there becomes a couple complications with this. Their goal is to solve the bankruptcy problem. Every estate, though, only gets one vote. If you can imagine, third estate isn't going to be too happy. They have the most people, yet they still get the same amount of votes as the other two estates. Make sure to check out our next video, which will go into the revolution itself. The stage has been set. The revolution is coming. So until next time, I'm Mr. Sin. Thank you for stopping by and have a great day.